Hey everyone, my name is Wedge and welcome back to our post-rotation finance guide series. We've already talked about all the cards in Kaladesh and Aether Revolt that you should buy right now. Links to those will be on the screen. In this video, we're spotlighting Amonkhet, everything from the set you should buy and why. I'll show you the prices of everything we talk about, and if you want to buy any of the super cheap goodness in this video, you can click the first link in the description. I do hope you enjoy it, and if you do, remember hit the like button right down there. It helps out a lot. So like button. We're starting with the biggest headache on this list, As Foretold, dropping slowly but steadily in price since the beginning of the year. As Foretold is the big question from the set. If we're talking about potential power, As Foretold has it. A fairly costed enchantment with a broke as heck ability allowing the free cast of spells as long as it fits within the Foretold's requirements. What makes this card weird is that it isn't an auto-including commander or constructed because there's nothing that wants As Foretold all the time, but there are players who find themselves drawn to it, and that's why it still has so much value. Regular copies are $6 right now, with foils sitting around $20. There's clearly demand here, but it's very selective demand. So I'm going to give you some advice about this card and this card alone. If you need As Foretold or ever want to play it, you should definitely buy it now for $6 each, absolutely. However, if you buy the card intending to make money on it, I think you'll fail. This card is marketed to a very specific player, which means it won't move that quickly, but at the same time, its price will never fall due to the potential power. This is a nightmare card to invest in, so just don't. Buy if you need it, not to sell. In my humble opinion, Vizier of the Menagerie is one of the single best cards to buy right now for Commander in general, not even just in Amonkhet. This card is the creature version of Oracle of Moldiah. Now, obviously that doesn't mean it's the same power level as the Oracle, but it does mean it's worth way more than its current price tag of $3. Vizier of the Menagerie not only lets you see the top card of your deck without revealing it to your opponents, but it also lets you cast the top of your deck if it's a creature, and it lets you mana fix any way you want to do it. It helps you do so many things for 4 mana, and it comes with a 3/4 body to boot. Playable in any creature-based deck that runs green, the Vizier has wide appeal. An incredibly underrated, undervalued mythic rare that deserves more attention than it's getting. Imagine this monster in something like Selvala, or the Ur-Dragon, or Soraka Dragonclaw. Saskia, Xenagos God of Revels, Animar, you get my point. Look, whether you're looking to play the Vizier at some point or simply want a cheap finance spec, Vizier of the Menagerie is for you. This card is a commander diamond in the rough, and at $3, it's so gross. It's so good. Next up is Nissa, Steward of Elements, sitting at an absurd $2.80, and this is one of the cheapest planeswalkers out there right now, which makes it the perfect time to pick her up. In Commander especially, her 0 is outrageously powerful. In any type of blue-green ramp deck, any proliferation strategy, you're looking at a strong addition for a cheap cost. Probably something like Crewfix or Atraxa would be the perfect place. Regardless, she's crazy cheap right now, and while this isn't the most lucrative spec on this list, I did want to point her out because at under $3 each, that's a bargain planeswalker right there with enough power to be worth $5 to $7 in a year or two. I think it's a solid investment. Anointed Procession is probably the best spec on this list. The card's totally unreal. Think about the company it keeps. Doubling Season, Parallel Lives. Anointed Procession is the next card in this line of amazing double-up effects. Gave, Riss, Brea, Edgar Markov. Anointed Procession is bringing creature copying to decks that have never had it this efficiently before, and I'm sorry, but $6 each is a crime for its playability. There aren't very many cards that we know will go up after rotation. We have suspicions, we have predictions based on past events, but we never have concrete proof. How can we? It's the future. But with Anointed Procession, we're as close to fact as we can get. Anointed Procession will go up in price. It will not stay very low for long. Foils are $11, regular copies are $6. Mark my words, in a year's time, these prices will be a thing of the past. $6 for this card is a bargain, I promise. I want to quickly talk about Gideon of the Trials. I don't particularly think this is a good buy, but I know some of you do, so I just want to say wait on this card. I think it's going to go a bit lower than where it is right now, especially since it isn't in anything too amazing. It does see fringe modern play in some weird mono white decks, but other than that, there isn't much to talk about. Gideon of the Trials is a card with a strong third ability that could do some real damage somewhere eventually, but that time is not right now. Don't rush out for this card. It'll still be pretty low in a couple months to a year unless something comes out that just breaks it. The cycling dual lands are fantastic and make excellent buys right now. As with most standard dual lands after rotation, these are about as cheap as they're ever going to get, and they are quite cheap. Fetid Pools is under $3, Canyon Slough is $2.50, Shattered Thickets $1.70, Scattered Groves is under $2, and Irrigated Farmland is friggin' 60 cents. It's 60 cents. These dual lands have cycling, which makes them relevant in the Commander late game, and they have basic land types, which makes them perfect for fetching. This is everything you want in a Commander land. These lands are perfect, and they're just so cheap. Buy these, if for no other reason than to include them in any future decks you make that run a single fetch land, or want to land in your graveyard, or want to land with versatility. The Amonkhet cycle lands are fantastic, they're powerful, and they're being ignored. Take advantage. They are dirt cheap. They are so cheap, like stupid cheap. The last cards we're going to talk about in this video, the Almond Cat Gods. Look at these prices. All of them are looking like solid buys right now, but I want to focus on a few in particular, Ronas and Bantu. These two gods have a lot of power in a format like Commander. Ronas can go into any green creature-based deck and be completely fine, just granting trample to anything that moves. And Bantu is made for a sacrifice deck. She's another sack outlet that's really difficult to get rid of and grants card filtering. You aren't playing either of these for their power and toughness strength alone. You play them for their abilities. They're basically enchantments with upside. Again, I do think they're all worth picking up as most of them are cheap as heck, but I'd pay special attention to Ronas and Bantu, even though Ronas is around $7 right now, still worth picking up as that slide post rotation is coming to an end. It's fair warning. Compared to other sets that have recently rotated out, the current value in Amonkhet is actually quite low, which means it's a great time to get some of these cards. A lot of these are bottom barrel prices. You really can't go wrong with a bunch of these. If you have any other suggestions on cards you think are worth buying right now from Amonkhet, be sure to leave them in the comments and we will definitely talk about it. And if you want any of the cards I talked about in this video, be sure to just click the first link in the description for everything you need. And as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time. This video is brought to you in part by TCGplayer.com. There are plenty of cards on this list that you should consider buying right now, but the card you should buy the most right now, Anointed Procession, $6 this very second. All you have to do is click the link on the screen. You can get this ridiculously strong card for the cheapest it'll probably ever be again, and it helps the channel. It's a win-win for everyone. I love you. Enjoy.